As you know, I'm a 65 Dodge kind of guy. I had this magnesium crossram and I had these 65 carburetors. These are the proper 3116s with the build date of late October 1964. So they would be for a 65 Dodge. I've got this book that has a 54-step process of how to put a kit in a carburetor. I think I did this 40 years ago, and I think they worked. And then after we get it on the test stand, I think I need to repaint just because, you know, you want it to look pretty. Then after we get it running, I have a synchronizer to check the sync on those. These things are kind of neat. That guy died though, so you can't buy them. And then I have this air-fuel ratio gauge that I'm going to put in the control panel of the test stand where we can do the fine-tune on the idle. This carburetor cleaner, you know, they used to give you a bigger bucket where you could put everything in there at once, but it was only $40. It's got a basket in there, and we can dip those parts. One, you know, probably might take 2 or 3 different loads, but it says it only takes 15 to 30 minutes to clean them up. Now, this is just cleaning them up. This is not going to be restored like these guys that do the beautiful work like Scott Smith and stuff. But actually, there's a excellent man here in town that does carburetors, but I know he's constantly busy. He said he'd do them for me one time, but I know he's busy and running wide open, and he's got a job and a wife, and you know how that goes. So I think I ought to just try it myself. And if I did it 40 years ago, surely I can figure out how to do it. I don't think there's much to this. I think you just disassemble and soak them and then rinse and blow out all the air passages. I don't think this is going to be a difficult project. And then when I get done, I will at least know that they're okay and that they work. And not that I'm going to get another 65 Dodge, but if I did, I would have an intake and carburetors for it. I'd like to have an air cleaner, but you know, those things are really pricey, and I haven't seen one. They used to repop them, but I haven't even seen one of those lately. But anyway, that's the idea here. Just fix it up and make it usable. I wasn't going to show me tearing this carburetor down to dip it and wash it and then blow out all the holes and everything. But I found it interesting that these things look new inside. These things have never been run since these kits were put in there. So it seems like a waste of time to do all this, but these things have been on the shelf somewhere. Look at the dust and those little air bleeds there. I think you got to put kits in them. If they'd been in a baggie, then there wouldn't be any dust anywhere, just like this, and everything would be wonderful. But I got the kits in to rebuild them. I didn't see these diaphragms in there. I haven't opened them up yet, but they were kind of in a little clear box. But I didn't see those. I'm not sure if they're in there or not. But anyway, it's all going good. These old carburetors, you know, they use them old clutch head screws. But I had bought this anticipating that. It looks a little loose. I think that 5 is the size or something. It looks a little loose in there, but I've got a 6 and it's too big, so I guess this is the right tool for it. But that's the plan, is I'm going to continue disassembling and get them dipped. I'll have to do a couple of different loads because that basket they give you nowadays is not very big. But we'll get there. I was just going to give you an update on what a wasted idea this was once I saw the inside of the carburetor, but has to be done anyway because of the sitting in the dust. It's probably been, well, it's obviously been on sitting on a shelf somewhere for 60 years. I mean, well, you know. And this manifold had a few chips in the paint, you know, not to mention it was the wrong shade of orange. That was a pretty shade of street Hemi orange, but this doesn't go on a street Hemi. So I thought I'd repaint it. I ordered some paint from somebody that's supposed to know how to mix race Hemi orange, which is a lot more yellow than street Hemi orange. But all this had on it was one coat of street Hemi orange over the primer. But boy, it's been tough. I've done 5 passes already, and I got at least 3 more to go. I won't have to go over the whole thing, just dot to dot, you know, but this thing's making a man out of me. I've been on this about a day. I'm not so sure if I even want to paint it race Hemi orange. If I didn't buy another race Hemi, I don't know what I'd put it on, so I'd really feel bad if it wasn't a proper color. I don't know what to do. But I'm doing it. While I'm stripping the intake manifold and putting the kits in the carburetors, I need to get this intake and carb off of here to put the crossram on. So I thought I needed to kind of get this carburetor sorted out before I take it off, so I'll know where I'm at. Because I'm not going to put this back on. It doesn't look right with a single 4. That was just to break in the cam. So before I take it off, I want to get it running more proper, I guess I should say. I wired up the electric choke, and I've got the air fuel ratio gauge put in and hooked up and everything. So I wanted to test all that. And I know this sounds stupid. You know, when you're young, you throw the choke away on a car because you don't want that crap on there. But, you know, on the test stand, you don't want to have to hold it, the throttle open, or to keep it idle till it gets warmed up. So I wanted to kind of get that going properly. By the way, on that crossram, I think I figured out what that orange paint was. I keep thinking, since I'm a 65 guy, I think of race Hemi orange, but that manifold was probably the proper color for a 68. So it must have come on a Dart or a Barracuda. And if I'd have thought about that, I'd have left it alone, because I used to have a Dart, and I sold it to a boy who never drives it, and what was it, 45 years ago or something. And he might sell it back to me someday, and so it would have been the proper color, and so that's kind of bad. But so I may have done all that for nothing. But anyway, I'll continue to finish that up. But I wanted to test run this thing and make sure the carburetor's kind of close to where I wanted it and everything. You know, when you got a carburetor on a test stand, you don't want to have to hold it and everything. I don't guess you have to wait for that to get heated up. That's how I want it to run. The choke's working right. Yeah. I like I don't know how to tune a fast idle screw. Well, that's not bad. And we're getting pretty close. Still got a little bit of soap going on. I don't know. I think I'm happy with that. I'm happy. I want to go back with that inline 2.4 stage 5 manifold. It'll use 2 of these Hollies instead of 1, and then it'll look like a Hemi's supposed to look. When I put the cross ram on, these intakes calm an engine down. You know, this sounds like a grandma car because of that small cam, but when you put the cross ram on, I assume it's going to sound much sexier, being a ram type manifold and everything. It's going to be mo better. But I think, you know, the choke's not exactly like I wanted, but hey, that was pretty close, wasn't it? I think I'm happy. Here comes the worst part about putting a cross ram on a 426 Hemi, and that is intake manifold bolts. Now, there's people that claim they sell you cross ram intake bolts, but here's a Mopar set. I'm not saying my inventory is old, but they are 23 years old now that I look at it. I've got the original part numbers from 60 years ago, but I don't think Mopar makes those. And I've got a set from A&A Transmission. They repop these mag cross rams, and they sell a lot of cross ram hardware and stuff. Good folks, but they're selling you 3-inch long bolts, and that's fine. That's wonderful. Both these sets are 3-inch bolts, so you can use 4 of them out of the 16 because these are supposed to be 3-inch long bolts. But these 3 that you access under these holes, that takes 2 3/4, and then these 2 under these 2 plugs need 2 1/2, and the one on the end here is 2 1/4. So that means that I have to cut off 12 bolts and make them the right length. These 2 work fine, but the rest of them have to be cut. But now you know what I do all day. Now this is the new style cross ram made out of aluminum that Mopar was selling 25 years ago, which is why I presume they had to come out with the bolt kit to put them on. And that's nice. The new cross ram, of course, has the same problem. These 2 take 3-inch bolts, and then these 3 have to be cut, and then these 2, and then this 1. So buying a new cross ram is not going to help. This is a beautiful cross ram. A modern cylinder head ported it, and look at the size of those intake. Is that beautiful or what? Wow. This cross ram is 1 inch taller than the other one, so it would be difficult to put this on a 65 or a 68 because the air horn clearance to the hood is made for those cars, so I don't think that would work too good. But assuming you're using the factory, you know, fresh air. But wow, they do have some intake ports, and But I'm never going to run this thing because, you know, I would want, the only thing I'd put one on would be a 65, and I have to use the fresh air hood, so I don't even know why I've got this now that I think about it. Well, anyway, what I was trying to show you was that the new bolts don't work in the new intake either. You still have to cut them all off on these, you know, same thing. But I guess if you know anybody that wants a new style cross ram, I guess I'd sell it to them. I'm not going to do anything with it.